Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 16 is entitled as Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, the yoga of the divine and demonic nature. Sloka 1 through 3, part 3. śrī-bhagavān uvāca abhayaṁ sattva-saṁśuddhir jñāna-yoga-vyavasthitiḥ dānaṁ damascha yajñascha svādhyāyas tapa ārjavam ahiṁsā satyam akrodhas tyāgaḥ śāntir apaiśunam dayā bhūteṣv aloluptvaṁ mārdavaṁ hrīr acāpalam tejaḥ kṣamā dhṛtiḥ śaucam adroho nāti-mānitā bhavanti sampadam daivīm abhijatasya bharata. We have learnt about 8 characteristics of divine persons. Abhayaṁ, sattva-saṁśuddhir, jñāna-yoga-vyavasthitiḥ, dānaṁ, damaḥ, yajñaś, and tapa. Next, the 9th one in the sequence, which is first one for us in this section, is ārjavam, meaning simplicity. It is said, mano vāk kāya karma vrittināṁ ekanishta pareshu. Simplicity in a way in one thinks, one speaks, and one does action. In other words, there's a oneness of thought, word, and deed. What one thinks, what one speaks, and what one does, all these 3 are in sync in one's dealing with others. Not that I think something and I speak something different and I do something totally different. But that doesn't mean being in sync with thought, word, and deed like Ravana. Ravana thought that he will not give away Mother Sita. He spoke that he will never give away Mother Sita, and they did action to prove that he will not give away Mother Sita. Therefore, one may say that Ravana also has a divine nature of ārjavam, but that's not correct. Ārjavam, having oneness of thought, word, and deed towards right thing as prescribed in the Shastras. So thinking about someone's wife, speaking about someone's wife, fighting for someone's wife, though it is all in sync, they are not dharma. It is adharma. It is against the Shastra. Therefore, ārjavam means those 3, thought, word, and deed, must be as prescribed in the Shastra while dealing with others. Number 10, ahiṁsā, parapīda varjanam, that is ahiṁsā, meaning causing no violence or pain to others, refraining from causing pain to others, and it not only for others, even not causing pain to one's own self is also ahiṁsā. Swapīda and parapīda are not allowed. Parapīda means causing injury to others, and swapīda means causing injury to one's own self. That is also not recommended at all. When it is said ahiṁsā, it is not only by action, even by word. One should try to refrain from harming others, causing disturbance to others, even through mind, word, and deeds action. And when it comes to one's own self, sometimes we see that people walk on the fire in the name of religion. Sometimes people pierce needles on their faces and different parts of the body. We see that people pierce needles on their back and they pull something. carrying fire pot, hitting one's own chest with some sharp tools, slapping on their face, hit their head on the ground several times. These ideas are to bring some pain to their body in the name of religion. But it is very clearly said that both swapīḍa and parapīḍa are not good for sattvikas, the divine natured ones. These are done to worship the Shudra devatas, and this falls under asura guna, not at all divine nature. Number 11, satyam. Satyam means speaking the truth. Yata drishta artha gochara bhūteṣv vakyam. Satya means speaking what one knows for certain. But even then, it should be beneficial to others. If it is not going to cause harm to others, one can speak the truth. If it is going to cause harm to others, it should not be spoken, even if it is true. It is therefore said, satyam bhūtahitam proktam. Truth should be for the benefit of other living entities, not otherwise. Say I am walking on a street and I see few kids with a stick hitting a tortoise on its shell. When I see that, I go to them and tell, this is not going to help you. Then I speak the truth to them, saying, please put the tortoise upside down. Then you can achieve what you want. Well, that is the truth, but it's going to kill the tortoise. Therefore, that is not considered to be satyam, because when satyam is spoken, it must be satyam bhūtahita proktam. It should not bring any harm to any living entities. Number 12, akrodhas. Akrodhas parapīḍa palachitta vikara rahitatvam, meaning freedom from anger. It is not just freedom from anger, but expecting or making others to feel miserable, which is what considered to be the fruit of one's anger. For example, I show my anger to someone with an expectation that person will feel miserable. That expectation, the phalam, the fruit, is the outcome of my anger. That is, freedom from the mental state which will lead to harm to others or to oneself is akrodhas. Number 13, tyāgaḥ. Tyāgaḥ means renunciation. Tyāga ātmahita pratyanika parigraha vimochanam. Renunciation, tyāgaḥ, does not mean give up everything, give up your practices, give up your religiosity. That's not what renunciation meant over here. What it means is ātmahita pratyanika parigraha vimochanam, meaning give up those things which is contrary to one's own good. That which is not helping in one's atma ujjivana, in one's spiritual progress, then those things has to be given up. In other words, one having the ability or maturity to use things in proper way in service of Krishna, and renouncing things that are blocking in one's service to Krishna. That is what tyāgaḥ means. Next, number 14, śāntir. Śāntir indriyanam vishaya pravanya nirodha samshīlanam. This means controlling of one's external senses, eyes, ears, nose, and so forth. Training the sense organs to desist from their tendency to be immersed in sense objects. the eyes wanting to watch something, see something attractive, the ears wanting to hear something which is pleasing, and so forth. We already saw damaḥ as a fifth item, which is training the mind to desist from the pursuit of wrong things, whereas here it is control of the external senses. But both these terms, dhamma and śāntir, can be interchangeably used. If only one of the two terms has been used, we interpreted it to mean both the controls, that is, control of mind and control of senses. But if both the terms have been used in the verse, depending on the order of appearance of the terms, we interpreted the first one, whichever of the two, to be as means to control the external indriyas, and the second term to mean control of the mind. Between controlling of the external senses and controlling of the mind, we first need to control the external senses. First stop the external senses, eyes, ears, nose, etc., from being engaged themselves with inappropriate sense objects, and then only we can proceed to control the mind. And this is the order adapted in chapter 10 and as well as in chapter 18 that we are going to see in future. But that order has been changed in this particular chapter. That is, control of mind has been told earlier as damaḥ, and then over here śāntir is control of external senses. The reason that we have to interpret it in this way, because śāntir is preceded by tyāgaḥ and succeeded by apaiśunam. The meaning of both these terms is connected with external interactions. Hence, śāntir appearing in the middle should also be so connected in its meaning to suit the context. Whereas damaḥ is preceded by dānaṁ and is succeeded by yajñaś. Both the terms involve internal interactions in their meaning. Therefore, damaḥ should also have a similar meaning. Next, number 15, apaiśunam. Apaiśunam means talking bad about others. In other words, backbiting. Apaiśunam is opposite of that, avoiding backbiting to harm others. Para anarthakara vakya nivedana akaranam. One should not be talking bad about others in their absence. That doesn't mean one can talk bad about others in front of them. That is number 15, apaiśunam, avoiding backbiting to harm others. Number 16, dayā bhūteṣv. Dayā bhūteṣv sarveshu dukkha sahiṣnutvaṁ. That is, one is not able to tolerate seeing others suffering. Compassion towards all beings without any distinction of friend or enemy. Usually, we show our compassion towards those who are favorable to us, who are related to us. But it is said here, dayā bhūteṣv, incapable to withstand, to tolerate the suffering of others. Here something need to be noted. Daya by itself refers to compassion towards the living beings. The term bhūteṣv has been used additionally and in plural to reinforce the point that this compassion should be inclusive of all living beings. It is said in the Padma Purana that ahiṁsā pratamam pushpam pushpam indriya nirgrihah sarvabhuta daya pushpam kṣamā pushpam visheshatah. Jnānam pushpam tapa pushpam dhyanam pushpam tataivacha satyam ashtavidam pushpam vishnuhu prītikaram bhavet. 8 kinds of flowers that brings delight to Lord Vishnu. They are ahiṁsā is one type of pushpam, that's non-violence. Indriya nigraha, control of senses, is another pushpam that one can offer to the Lord. Sarvabhuta daya, showing compassion to all beings, is another flower that we can offer to the Lord. Kṣamā, tolerance, patience, is another flower. Jnānam, knowledge, is another flower. Tapaha, austerity. Dhyanam, contemplative meditation on the Supreme Lord, is another flower. Satyam, truth, is another flower. These are the 8 flowers that one can offer to Lord Vishnu. Over here, we see that Sarvabhuta Daya is another flower that Lord gets delighted when that has been offered to Him. That is, showing our compassion to all living beings irrespective of any consideration. It is said, the Lord feels miserable when the living entities are going through sufferings, torture. This nature of the Lord is not a defect in Him. This shows His kindness. When we feel miserable, that's our fault because we are feeling miserable out of our ignorance. When the Lord feels miserable, seeing the living entity suffering, it is not out of ignorance, it's out of His daya, compassion. Of course, it would have been His fault if He felt joyful when He sees the living entities are suffering. But that's not the case here. There are people in the world who becomes excited, joyful, delighted when they see others suffers. The Lord is not like that. Something that we need to cultivate, such a quality of showing our compassion to all living beings. Who in the world will not feel miserable when they see other living entities are suffering? The best way that we can help others is by giving them the spiritual knowledge. In some way or the other, either to giving them some prasadam, giving them some books, spiritual books, or helping them to chant the names of the Lord. That's number 16, dayā bhūteṣv. We will continue the rest in the next session. Namaste. Hare Krishna.